there's so much attention paid to the kids, that are really having problems, that those that are really doing well, there's not a whole lot of attention paid to those kids anymore because there's not the time to be able to do that. And to your point, we have to make sure everybody feels good. Well, we're missing the boat because we're not cultivating leadership.
Well, you make a great point, and Valerie brings this up a lot too, which is that people don't realize how much time and attention you have to devote to gifted or high-achieving students, because otherwise there is a great risk that they become bored or cynical. And so in a weird way, the kid that writes a 25-page paper when you assigned a 10-page paper needs your attention just as much as the one that struggles and turns in only 5 pages on a 10-page assignment. It's a very different kind of attention. But yeah, I don't know. I guess somebody made the point that they already have like tri-captains and co-captains where there's like 2 or 3. But this is eliminating the idea. This is saying either everyone gets to be or nobody gets to be. And sadly, no matter what we do in the schools, they're going to go out into a world where there are winners and losers, and not every job applicant gets hired. And
Well, it's an ideology. At the end of the day, even if you do that, everyone's a captain. Sorry, somebody's leading that team. One of those kids is one of the ones that is the true leader.
That's true.
Right? Someone's the true leader in that team, and they're looking at looking at that. Yeah.
Well, you're all captains to me here on Gang of 4. All right,
Captain Jack.
This was a funny story. I liked this story. They had they really poked a lot of fun at it in the media. But apparently, the city of Houston commissioned a study to measure or gauge the attractiveness of Houston as a visitor city. It's almost a joke right there. But anyway, it's a great city to visit if you can get in through the traffic. But what turned out to happen was Houston was very low ranked in their own study, and the winner of the survey was San Antonio. In fact, San Antonio placed #1 in the country as a city that is the best overall experience for visitors. That's how the study puts it. Do you agree? I know none of us are truly visitors here, but are we a great visitor city? Are we the top dog?
I guess I want to know a little bit more about the visitors, what they're thinking. I mean, there are great things about San Antonio, especially now with the new Riverwalk Museum extension, with what's going to happen with the Mission Trail going south. There's been a lot of investment in downtown that I think makes it a great city to come, stay, walk around, go to some great cultural things, maybe see a Spurs game if that's your deal, go see the symphony. If we're talking about driving out to SeaWorld, that's sort of not my thing. But I will say that, Houston has a great CVB. That's the funny thing about this, too. Their Convention and Visitors Bureau, I get postcards from them all the time. Come check out the art car parade. Come check out our new Millennium Park. So there's sure marketing.
Well, the categories included, and these are the ones we won, good value for the money, friendly/welcoming, lots to see and do, experience history and culture, good for families and children. We tied Houston in nightlife and culture. Houston beat us in access for the disabled, friendly to alternate lifestyles. I mean, it's almost kind of fun. All of this language is so mushy and weird, and who knows what it means. But I just thought it was hilarious.
I think we know what friendly to alternate lifestyles means. That's good. Yay.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it's just funny to me that they're even taking this study. I mean, what is this sort of like a city's self-esteem kind of thing? I mean, if you're the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Elaine, it doesn't matter what the survey says. You're supposed to go out there and market the hell out of your city, right? So why do you need the survey?
Right. I think really the numbers tell you the real story. How many people came? How much money did they spend? How many nights? What did they go and do while they were there? So, yeah.
Nobody really answered my question, though. Is San Antonio the most visitor-friendly city in the country in terms of your travels? Do you think that's true? Kevin, do you think that's true?
I mean, this might be off the subject, but I think they need to expand the airport. I'm glad we are, because it's a little tiny for 1.5 million people.
It really is,
It's a tiny, tiny airport, which is nice to get through, though. So, but at the same time, I don't know, visitor, I mean, I think, Austin, I don't know why. But, I mean, hey, I'll
more
take
visitor-friendly?
Yeah, I don't
Austin's
know why. Yeah, it seems like, I mean, every time you get like one of those 25 things by Forbes, the best cities, Austin comes up there.
That's
or DC.
KEVINJOY.
Yeah. I'm not saying I like Austin. That's why I'm in San Antonio. I'm just saying.
Don't back down now. Don't back down.
San Antonians will always try to give you directions, even if we don't actually know how to get there ourselves.
Yeah,
that is true.
They'll still try to help you.
Well, I mean, I work downtown, so there are tourists that are all over Houston Street. So, every time I come downstairs to go to lunch or something across the street, somebody comes up, can you tell me which way the Alamo is or which way the Riverwalk is? And, I'm happy to be able to stop and tell them. So I think for my visitor-friendly experience, I do think San Antonio is very visitor-friendly. Now, Elaine and I both, I think, sort of took issue with the nightlife
that's what I'm saying.
comparison
I guess
between Houston and San Antonio, which gives me a little moment of pause because...
It's more like evening life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, early
yes.
evening.
Right. Yes. Yes.
As long
Twilight
as you're back in your hotel by 8 o'clock, it's great city. All right. New surveys, 2 of them, indicate that the governor's race has tightened to a virtual dead heat between Rick Perry and Bill White. In a state that has been so reliably red, doesn't that mean Rick Perry is in big trouble? I mean, shouldn't Rick Perry be way ahead, even and as inept and bumbling as he is? What's going on here? Anybody?
I think, the thing that Bill White, I think, has done very effectively, and he did it when he was in Houston. I mean, he is a Democrat, but he's able to paint himself, and I think he postures himself in such a way that he's very appealing to Republicans, too, because I think he's much more of a moderate Democrat. And I think his track record speaks for himself in the big city of Houston. Even though he was a Democrat, I mean, he had big Republican support, and I think a lot of people really thought that he did a tremendous job as mayor of Houston. And I think some of that cachet or that halo effect associated from when he was mayor of Houston, I think has translated very well into the governor's race. I think he's done a good job so far effectively, poking at some of the Achilles heel that Perry has. I mean, I still talk to hardcore Republicans, Jack, that are still really upset with Perry.
Oh, yeah.
About private property rights, about the Trans-Texas corridor and the fact that he was ready to condemn property right and left. I mean, I've got a brother that lives in Houston who probably is the biggest Republican you'll ever find, and he's telling me now he's not voting for Perry because they were about to condemn his property.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not surprising. Do I think in the end probably Perry's able to squeak it out? I mean, yes.
You think he will?
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's just time, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you, at some point when you get into politics, your card's going to be up. You've ticked too many people off, and you've been in there too long. It's a game plan thing.
That's right.
I meant at some point it's time for you to go. So.
Yeah. And I think Trish is right. I mean, Bill White really governed as a pro-business,
yes.
pro quality of life, pragmatist. And that reputation is starting to filter out. It filtered out already at some levels. They're starting to get the message out across the state. And Perry made a decision just to be very ideological in this race, and that it didn't need to be about substance. But people are having very substantive issues right now. Even in Texas, we're starting to feel some of the effects. So I think that was a mistake also on the part of his campaign.
Is the idea of calling Governor Perry a coward for refusing to debate him, are any of you hearing that, or is that getting any traction outside of the media? I mean, does that matter to people? Do debates matter to people?
I don't think debates really matter to people. I mean, I think we're all so busy with, life in general. I mean, the fact that you'd have time to be able to actually sit down and look at a substantive quality debate, I think is ideological. I think we all would like to be able to do that, but I mean, that's when, the advertising dollars, and certainly White is very capable of doing that. I mean, he can privately and personally fund a campaign. I think you've got to look at what you're getting off of sound bites and off of, television advertising, which at the end of the day still rules as far as politics is concerned.
Yeah, I think there's a core of voters who like to see debates. And I think people who tend to watch debates are likely to go out and vote. So I think there's value to them. And I think it does resonate with people if they hear and believe that a candidate is refusing to get up there on stage and face their opponent, that counts against the person who won't do it.